Titans Go because they canceled Justice League Action. They say they're bringing back Young Justice on an app, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know anything about that.
It might be terrible.
Oh, their new Young Justice show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as bad as Futurama was when it came back.
Yeah, that's the real heartbreaker, isn't it? Where it's like, how many shows did you want back, got them back, and they weren't as good?
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah, because the ingredients were missing or something.
Well, or they didn't understand why they were bringing it back to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I have faith in Wiseman, but at the same time, too, it might be cheaper. You don't know what the deal is.
Yeah.
There might be crazy new embargoes on the ones he can and can't use.
I assume there's no more of those left. I assume that like that embargo is just garbage. Like they're just done with that shit.
You would think that, but then they're also like, yeah, we're getting your Young Justice animated thing back, but we're also doing a live-action Titans show on the same app, which is a lot of the same characters.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's very weird. That's an odd choice.
Yeah, I don't know. It just it. Well, anyway,
we'll see.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal.
Hello, I'm Joel.
Hello. Today we're going to be talking about DC TV animation pitches. This is a show completely run by Joel. Joel's the impetus behind this concept, and so he's going to be doing the bulk of the pitches. I've come up with a couple myself, but they are not nearly as involved as Joel. He's got voice casts and stuff. I've just got concepts, so I'm looking forward to like doing a little bit of back and forth, mostly just letting Joel kind of run the show today. So
thank you. The way I figured it is we had so much fun with our Marvel comic pitches, and a fan on Twitter said, hey, would you ever do the same thing with TV? And I'm like, yeah, we should do it for TV.
Right? Absolutely. And this is, so what we're doing is we're going to be pitching, more or less, DC animation series for television. Not movies, not direct-to-DVD stuff.
Well, here's the thing. It's like I have one movie, and then I kind of split it between, okay, what will be 11 minutes? Because most animation on TV is 11 minutes now, and what will be a full 20?
Yes, absolutely. I factored that in when you mentioned your 11-minute thing before as well. So I've got a couple of short shows like the Titans or Just Like Action. The YouTube digestible shows, the shows where it's like, here's a couple of moments that we can just throw on YouTube and get the clicks, and we can also have some series, you know, because like we were raised on shows, serialized storytelling, like Justice League the animated series, Batman, Superman, that poor dead Green Lantern show, long form shows. So I'm looking forward to hearing about these.
I was going to actually ask you as we get into it, where do you stand on the whole animation has moved to a new 11-minute paradigm? Do you think that's to reflect our kids' attention spans not as long as they used to be?
Oh, it's the YouTube generation, and I don't mean in a derogatory way. I love the YouTube generation. Love you guys. You guys are amazing. Your generation is the best. But no, it's more like they're making shows. I mean, here's the thing. The highest clicked shows and videos on YouTube that are not music videos are late night stuff.
Yeah.
Clips from Fallon and Kimmel and Conan.
John Oliver, yeah.
John Oliver. Just those sound bites, those chunks of time that are literally just ripped from an entire length show. And so I think that it is smart business to make a show that's basically just like, here's the Swamp Thing scene, then I can take that, throw it on YouTube, or just cater the entire show to clips of things I can throw on YouTube and get 2 bites of the same apple.
And I figure too, kids are just so much more active now. Where it's like I only have 11 minutes to spare in between everything else.
That's the thing, is that everything is in direct competition with each other. So I get it. I hate it, and I think it sucks, but I understand why, and if my only recourse is to work within that time frame and format, I'll take it. If that's where it goes, I gotta go where the money is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I figured now would actually be the perfect time to do an episode like this, because DC Animation, which used to be the kings of Saturday morning cartoon and primetime animation, have kind of fallen. They're a bit of a shadow of themselves right now. They have Teen Titans Go. They canceled Justice League Action. There's talk about the rebooted Young Justice on their new app that may or may not happen. We don't know yet.
Absolutely. By the way, thank you, Mr. Giggles, for jumping into the super chat. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So like I figured this might be a thing to be like, if I could do it, if I was given the power to do the pitches, and I can pitch to you, and you can play big suited producer with cigar, and you can tell me what you think of these.
Yeah, exactly. You are Sam Beckett. Bruce Timm has something that he needs to accomplish in his life. You leap into his body, and you delay the thing he needs to do long enough for you to get some of these shows greenlit.
Damn right. So, I mean, obviously, when it comes to any DC animated universe, the cornerstone, whether you like to admit it or not, is always going to be Batman, is the thing. Batman started it all. They always go back to Batman, even if they don't last a long time, like Beware the Batman.
I didn't even give Beware the Batman a full episode.
You missed nothing. The best thing about it was the theme song. So here's my pitch for Batman. I want to do a Batman show, but I want to make it unlike any other Batman show. I want to play with characters and concepts that you can only do in something like this. That's why my Batman pitch is Batman Inc. is what it's going to be.
Oh, the Grant Morrison series, like an adaptation of that?
So, it's an adaptation, but it's more of a jumping off point. It's, Gotham City in the first episode gets attacked by Leviathan, and it's too big for Batman, so he needs to go around the world and recruit a bunch of other Bat people to his cause.
I see. Once you said Batman Incorporated, I'm like, okay, so it's multiple Batmans, and we're seeing it from the perspective of those characters, I guess. Like, it's about, like, some episodes will be Batwing, some episodes will be the, like, Knight and Squire, and so forth.
Well, here's my idea for it, is, Leviathan attacks Gotham. Batman knows he needs to go on this recruitment drive all over the world, and each episode would be a focus piece. Like, this week, Batman goes to the Indian Reserve to recruit Man of Bats. He goes to England to recruit, Knight and Squire, and they have little adventures fighting Leviathan and fighting villains. Gotham City, while all of this is happening, is held down by Dick Grayson and Damian, who have become the Batman and Robin from the Morrison run.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we'll also have episodes where we check back in on them, and obviously Damian will be something of a focus character because we know Leviathan is actually the work of his mother Talia, and the Heretic, her muscle is just a big, brawny, evil clone of him.
Yes. So I assume that this would be, it's almost like a serious in tone Batman Brave and the Bold, but instead it's Batman Bat and the Bat. Like,
yeah, it's all Batman. And here's the thing, too. Because we're doing it as a cartoon, we can actually go places that Morrison never did, and we can give countries that never had a Bat character a Bat character that we can start marketing. Canada never had one.
No, that's true. But then again, like, what are the great threats that Batman needs to respond to in the Great White North? I assume Yetis and back bacon and some kind of maple syrup shortage?
We got bikers. There can be like a really nasty biker gang, and that's why he needs to get, I don't know, the Dark Goon, who is a hockey-themed Batman guy. He's basically Casey Jones, only he's got a bat hockey mask. Yes. And he beats people up like that. See, writes itself. Yeah. And then, we can make a guy like that for every nation or girl or whatever, because that's the thing. And then every nation has their character, and they're going to want to keep watching it to see if their nation gets their guy to come back.
I think we do need to have, if there's one takeaway from this pitch, it has to be Canadian Batman, which is a thing that I didn't know I wanted to see until you mentioned it. I'm looking forward to seeing the art, the fan art involved with the Canadian Batman.
He'll actually will be wearing hockey pads, but that's the point.
Nice.
He's the one guy who can get away with it. And, he can fight like the French-Canadian mafia in Montreal. He can be like a French-Canadian is the thing to like really show that side of it.
Bikers from the States, they rolled over here without their passports, and now they're just running amok out here. They're using our open door policies. They're just letting themselves in and taking our TVs.
Well, hey, biker crime in Canada, there's a bunch of great documentaries on Mom Bouchard, who was actually like one of the biggest Canadian crime bosses of all time in Montreal.
I feel like you give me 6 months, I'll be a great Canadian crime boss in a bit.
Probably.
All right, you know what? I like Batman Inc. I think that's a great idea.
I think it lets you do everything. My voice cast, I imagine, for this, I would really like this to kind of be couched in the design aesthetic and really in the voices of Young Justice. I know we probably won't get Kevin Conroy back. If I had my way, it would be Kevin Conroy to the end of time. Bruce Greenwood is pretty good, though.
I
He's
agree.
easily my second
I
favorite.
agree. I was like, I remember when Under the Red Hood came out, and I was like, oh, I don't care for this. And then he spoke, and I'm like, no, Bruce Greenwood did a good job. I'll give him a pass. It's a different kind of Batman, but it's not like a weird, obvious, frustrating kind of Batman or something
Yeah.
where they're trying to do something different. It's just he does a nice job, and it's
Yeah.
I like it.
He's not doing a gimmick. It's not stunt casting. He is an actor playing the part.
Yeah, it's a little less weird than like when Peter Weller played Batman in Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie adaptation.
It was
He's
a little
okay, and
stunt
it grew
casty.
on me, but like there are a couple of lines that needed like the gravelly, like booming or bass
Yeah.
rather of like a Bruce Greenwood or a Kevin Conroy that Peter Weller just was not able to accomplish. So I
Absolutely.
hear you, it also gives you the opportunity to get some great Batman actors
It's
to play all
true.
the Batmen.
Absolutely. You can get everyone back you've ever wanted who's ever been a Batman to play a different type of
You can get the
Batman.
kid who played Terry McGinnis. He could play a Batman.
Absolutely. Wilfred, yep, get him in there. We totally want him to be something. He can be, what is it? He can be the Batwing. He can be Jason. Wouldn't that be funny? Because he was kind of playing a Jason-esque, younger, more rebellious Batman anyway. So let him be the Jason.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so Batman makes sense. I literally avoided the Bat concept because I was like, I don't want anything like I don't know like.
It's been done to death. There's been so many.
But I like the Batman Inc. Idea, and then I was like, okay, let's do something just totally off, like out of left field, and so I wanted to do a thing that was like an anthology series, like where it's many different types of stories. They're all about different characters. And they're all about the darker side of the DC universe. It'd be kind of like an HBO series that I'm calling Sandman Mystery Theater, which was a comic back in the day, but it would basically specialize in some of the more either like Vertigo-esque titles or some of the older like characters that you just kind of forgot about or don't.
Would Sandman be our crypt keeper in this? Would he open up everyone and be like, "Oh, do I have a tale for you?" And he'd
I think
open up
something
a book?
like that. I mean, like I think that it would be more like either the Spectre would probably open the show, or it'd be, or there is no like real like formal character that enters the show. It's just kind of like a very like it reminds. I'm thinking more of like the Superman 75th anniversary animation collage,
That was good.
or the Powers intro, but something where it's like but way darker, and it ends with the green suited like mask wearing Sandman, and it's just like Sandman Mystery Theater, and you're just like, what's happening, and then it goes right into it, and I think you get a team like the guys from Mignola's group that made the Amazing Screw-On Head show. And just
That's such a good pilot. Why did that never get picked up?
I agree, but you get those people together and you just make an HBO or something like a niche, adult-oriented format network, and just make an anthology show, like shows that are like either shorts or short stories that are about characters that like are darker and maybe more mystical in tone. You get some Etrigan shows, you get some Sandman shows, you get some what's it called? The Spectre shows. Dr. Fate would obviously factor in. Like
that would be so perfect because it's like, you remember there was a little bit there where Cartoon Network set up like all those bumpers where it's like, hey, take some heroes but take them into some weird, interesting directions.
Yes, exactly.
That would be nice. Get like a bunch of really good like artists in school, a lot of people who maybe never had their pilots picked up, and said, okay, pick a character, run with it. You got 5 minutes.
Yeah. So you get something like that, and also the music would have to be very dark and moody. I would get somebody. Unfortunately, Shirley Walker's no longer with us, but anyone like that, or just get Danny freaking Elfman to do like just a haunting,
I know, right?
Beetlejuice-esque theme. And I think you'd have a hit, and not like a big hit. I think it'd be canceled after like a season and a half. But people would talk about like, did you see Sandman Mystery Theater when it was on? Because it was freaking amazing.
Even like when they were doing shorts attached to the DVD movies, like here's a Jonah Hex and here's a Spectre and here's a Green Arrow. Put all those together in an anthology, and that would be great.
Yeah, you just take that concept and go, we're gonna do that, but as like a serial, as a show. And maybe they link together, but more likely they're all just autonomous, and they don't necessarily have to be 30 minutes. It could be 2 half-length shows about two completely different topics or characters that you just enjoy. It's like watching like watching Crypt Keeper or something.
Definitely. Heck, you could even go a step further and you could like heavy metal it where there's like one little MacGuffin, like, I don't know, like the
Yeah.
Black Diamond or something that ties all the little shorts together.
Again, I love, yeah. So that's something that I was like, that was the first idea I had. I was like, Sam and Misty Theater. I want to see that. All right.
That's pretty sick.
So
I like that.
So, all right, it looks like we got two green light.
We love our work. What can I say?
I know.
Another one I had in mind, and this, totally came apart because of a certain movie that's doing great right now. And my pitch for this would be The Legend of Wonder Woman.
Oh, I see. I think I see where you're going with this, and I like where it's headed. So let's do it.
She never had an animated series, which is funny because I think Wonder Woman, we would be viewing her totally differently if Bruce Timm and the gang took a crack at her the same way they did Superman and Batman, updating the villains for the 90s, doing like their cool experimental stories. My idea for this is I would kind of like take a page out of the 90s playbook for making animated series out of movies, where I would say, okay, so you just saw the Wonder Woman movie. Cool, that continuity still works. This is Diana in 2017 getting into adventures, trying to find her way back to the Themyscira. And along the way, we kind of do like a Lost Orange is the New Black thing, where she flashes back to all the different adventures and all the different, time she spent in man's world and beyond.
Okay, I like that. That'd be cool.
To where it's like, and like, even like, what is it? You could stunt cast some people, like the nice museum lady she works with is Linda Carter.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And this would be a great way, too, where it's like, you start working in all, like, the Wonder Woman villains. My idea would be is that, like, Dr. Psycho, who I would, of course, want Tim Curry to voice.
Oh,
He would be like the master planner who's going along and slowly but surely creating all the Wonder Woman villains, like Giganta and Silver Swan. Grey Delisle would be my Cheetah.
All right, cool. Great voice.
And then I would also try and work in a Steve Trevor, but like a distant relative who also just so happens to be named Steve Trevor.
Right, okay.
And who is voiced by Matt Mercer.
Oh.
Because I like Matt Mercer, and I think everyone does if you like Critical Role or even if you like Overwatch.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a great idea.
That would be my pitch for it. Like Wonder Woman by way of Highlander, where she's like, I've lived so many lives, had so many adventures, and probably a lot of sword fights.
Now, here's a question. Not who's animating, but what kind of style are you thinking for animation? Like old Superman or something different? Yeah,
definitely like old Superman, old Justice League is what I would imagine this, like, good old-fashioned, like, storyboards and thick, dark lines and all that other good stuff.
What's the costume?
Ooh, that's a good question. Do we go with the one?
All of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Sal. You don't have to pick, because if we're doing flashbacks, you can do every one you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can even have, heck, I have another thing that kind of messes with time later, but yeah, make that part of the thing where it's like, Wonder Woman in the 60s is wearing her weird white suit that she wore for a little bit.
Yeah, or at least, like, you have to do some kind of homage to it, like she's gonna wear it, or she's wearing it as, like, a, what's it called? It's, like, her regular clothes outfit, and then she, like, gets rid of it to become Wonder Woman, and, like, as a way of, like, saying, that was really stupid, and we're throwing it away. Like the Luke Cage moment in the Luke Cage show where he's wearing the yellow and the tiara, and he goes, get this shit off of me.
Did it, paid homage to it, I'm done with it. Ooh, you could do, like, the early 2000s where she's got the jacket and the pants, and she's like, that was a weird time.
Yes. Very much so.
Because she's had, like, a lot of them is the thing, too. Not so much as Batman and Superman, where you can really tell what era it is, but there's been enough small changes to her costume over the years.
Absolutely. No, I like the idea of kind of seeing an evolutionary process of the costume or being able to track it over time. Like, you go from, like, the skirt, like, the straight-up, like, Star-Spangled skirt to the, like, the leather-bound, like, or not leather-bound, but, like, the leather skirt to the, like, bikini bottom, like, like, trunks kind of thing. The possibilities are endless, and of course the merchandising possibilities are endless as well, because you can make all kinds of different Wonder Woman variant figures and dolls and whatnot.
That's the idea. Also, crazy as it sounds, who I would want to voice my Wonder Woman ideally? I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, maybe even you two. Janet Varney.
Janet Varney. Why do I know that name?
She's Cora.
Yeah, right. That's fine. I don't like Korra, but I do like the voice, and I've actually met her a couple times. But like
She's a sweet lady.
sweet lady. I feel really bad. I'm like, hey, you ruined Avatar. But
And it's her natural talking voice too, is the
that's the
thing.
thing. She just sounds like that, and no, it's a solid, strong, like female voice. I dig it.
That's
Um,
why I would want her for the role. But
yeah,
yeah, that's my dream Wonder Woman show. And as the chat is saying too, yeah, you could also work in the sidekicks. You could work in Donna Troy. You could work in Casey Sandsmark. You could work in everybody.
absolutely, absolutely. Man, can I throw out a voice actor for Hippolyta?
She's
I'd like to get Lena Headey into voice acting
oh,
because
she's good.
she's good. By the way,
She's really good.
huge shout out and thank you to Getting Artsy with a Lobster, who said, "Can we just get the same quality of Max Fleischer Superman cartoon decades
Yeah.
later?" Because let me tell you something. I saw a clip of the old Max Fleischer Superman cartoons literally yesterday, and I'm like, this still holds up.
It does. Like they put in the work and they future proofed the shit out of that
Can I
show.
can I say I think that was my first exposure to Superman in any format was the Max Fleischer cartoons because my parents were
Good
very.
stuff.
My dad is an old man, so he was like, "Hey, like look at look at my Superman cartoons," and I'm like, "This is cool." It was not dated and weird.
No, it's really not.
Although
I
it
mean,
does, what was a little dated and weird was the Superman animated series from Ruby Spears. That was the one in the
mm,
80s. It was based off of the like John Byrne 80s Man of Steel series that had like they ended every episode with like the Kents going through their photo album being like, "Oh, remember that time that Clark burned the barn down?" And then we go into it and we have to do a flashback of Superman like as a boy learning to like deal with his powers. And it's like a weird kind of like "Brr, brr, 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 this is a silly story" kind of thing. I kind of like that show. I wish we could see something like that, but I think it's just too cemented in its own time. I
yeah.
don't think there's any way you could recapture a show like that.
Maybe in a couple years when people are more nostalgic for it.
But I would like to see a like Max Fleischer Batman cartoon.
Ooh,
And I
that'd be
think we kind
fun.
of did, and I think it was called Batman the Animated
That's clearly
Series.
where they were drawing all their theory from, especially in some scenes like Almost Got 'Em looks very Fleischer with like the light fixtures that aren't really attached because they're playing around with all this shadow and everything.
The real one that I think of every time is the Mr. Freeze episode.
Mm.
Because of the animation team that worked on it, and just like those moments where it would be really close, and it was obviously like just this painted, beautiful thing, and you get like the frost on Freeze's helmet. It's just
So good.
unbelievable. It's just
The
breathtaking.
company that went bankrupt
Yeah, the
doing that.
bankrupt in itself, making the greatest looking show of all time.
Damn right. At
My
least it won an award.
Good. I got a pitch for you right now. It's replacing the the Teen Titans Go show. It's called
I
Plastic
like.
Man.
That's fine. That's fine by me.
5 to 8 minute long shorts about Plastic Man, and he does all your dumb fart jokes and pizza
'Cause he's
eating
supposed
and
to.
bullshit and like whatever. It's just Plastic Man. I think is like Teen Titans Go is a weird show because the Teen Titans show resonated with a lot of fans, and for many people, surprisingly enough, that was the show that exposed the majority of folks to the concept of the Titans and to most of those characters, particularly Cyborg. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
are like Cyborg's a Justice Leaguer. No, he's like he's jockeying for leadership of the Titans. Like he and Robin are
should
neck
be.
and neck. Like, and let me tell you, I've never seen a better version of Cyborg than on the original Teen Titans show.
Kerry Payton really owned it. He really did. And he keeps coming back to do the voice and everything.
Which is nice. But when they canceled it unceremoniously and people were like, that sucks, then they said, like, don't worry, all the voices are coming back, the character designs are back, and it's keeping a similar name, and it uses kind of the same like verbiage from like the animated series theme song.
Yeah.
You think like maybe we're getting something like that, and they're like, nope, it's an 8 minute long fart joke. Would you like to watch that with your beloved characters? Like with all the same characters, it's all the same voices and just like modified designs, but they're also like making weird like soccer jokes at each other.
It is funny how they seem to take all the worst aspects of Teen Titans. It's like, hey, you remember you liked that show and you liked these characters and it was kind of anime-esque and everything. What if we make it even more kind of anime-esque, make it look way cheaper and shittier,
Yeah.
and we take out like all the actual serious moments with Deathstroke and Raven and everything you like
Yeah.
there, and we'll aim it at super young kids.
Yeah.
And Cartoon Network, we're going to be way into it because, like, we'll only ever run marathons of it.
And apparently, like, it must not cost much to make, but
I
it would be
doubt
like,
it.
hey, remember Batman the Animated Series? You like that show? Well, we got the same team that made Ren and Stimpy, and we're gonna do Batman cartoon or Batman animated, and it's just gonna be like 8 minutes long, and it'll be about Batman like slipping on banana peels, and like it'll just be sad and weird, and like no amount of Easter eggs in your show is going to endear me to your unfunny child show. I'm sorry.
Did you ever see the Young Justice episode they did for Teen Titans Go? Because they had most of the voice cast anyway.
I saw one where they're like, wow, you guys are serious. I saw the one where like they needed to get serious. I think that's the one.
Which is such a terrible reading of why people liked Young Justice and didn't like Teen Titans Go. And I think the writer later came out and said, yeah, I never even watched Young Justice. I just wanted to make fun of people who didn't like our show.
Yeah, well, like, fine, but do that in the comments below like everybody else.
Yeah, don't build an episode where it's like, no, we didn't like Young Justice because it was overly serious. We liked it because it was an actual show with character development and, like, good stuff.
Well, it did both. I mean, like, because I avoided Teen Titans for the longest time because I thought it was just like some weird Western version of anime. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty good. Too bad this shit got canceled a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
I've been there.
But I think if you took that format and gave it to O'Brien and just said like, just have at it, basically make it like Freakazoid meets like Earthworm Jim. But it's Plastic Man, and you use all the same trappings and short form, format. Like,
it would be
Freakazoid
perfect.
Is basically a 10 to 11 minute long show.
Yes, it is.
And the fact that it's owned by Warner Brothers, I'm throwing out another pitch. Bring back Freakazoid.
It's so weird that Freakazoid, like, culturally has not, like, aged like a fine wine in the zeitgeist, where it's like, guys, he was like a guy talking about the internet and like what it would do to us and what it would do to the world. Why is no one giving this a second look? This was a million years ahead of its time.
That's the thing. Like, okay, so when Freakazoid came out, everybody was talking about the internet and referring to it, believe it or not, as the information superhighway. It was a conduit through which we could all connect the human experience together and share our wealth of knowledge and experiences and our beliefs. And somehow, despite all the bullshit rhetoric about what the internet could be, when Freakazoid or rather Dexter Douglas is sucked into the internet, when he comes out, he is a meme shooting, like spouting random machine. He literally becomes the modern incarnation of the internet as it is now, but when it was in its infancy. That is a fucking concept that you could run with even more. Well, it's a concept that now you could run straight right into the ground, just like every concept that you have, that you like own, that you remember you have, like an Animaniacs reboot. I'm sure won't be completely bullshit, but Freakazoid, there's no integrity there anyway. It was a really great idea that had a brilliant execution. And so I'm just like, if you want to do that again and you want to make it a DC thing and get the DC fans, just Plastic Man. Plastic Man is Freakazoid. Although Freakazoid is mostly just Madman, but we won't.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that or the lawyers get involved.
Don't tell Mike Allred because he'll just get mad at you.
I'm sure he will. But yeah, Freakazoid would be genius. Plastic Man would be genius. I'm guessing you didn't watch much of Justice League Action. I liked it. I don't think you did.
I watched enough of it to speak intelligently about it, but it was not enough for me. I was like, it was not for me.
I felt there were some really strong episodes in there. What I really enjoyed is actually what they did with Plastic Man. They basically took your idea for him in that show, and they were pushing him super hard, actually.
Yes, they were. Well, because they're like, it's fun to animate him. He can do anything, and he lends himself to this format.
Yeah.
The problem was, for me, when they brought back Mark Hamill to play the Joker, and I was like, yay! Then I heard him, and I'm like, you're too old, man. You can't play the Joker anymore. Like that.
It was an interesting Swamp Thing, though, an interesting choice.
Yeah, like that was a great idea, and for me, I was like, that. Like, I can hear him too much.
Yeah,
I can hear Mark Hamill in there. By the way,
just him talking normally.
Suggested a Justice League International by the Animaniacs team. Hold on to your hat, man, because I'm getting to a Justice League International show.
I also have a Booster Gold Blue Beetle pitch, actually.
That's fine, but a Booster Gold Blue Beetle show is its own, can be its own thing.
But to dovetail off what you were saying about Plastic Man, I had a very similar pitch, only it was for Harley Quinn, is what it was
That's
for.
a that's a $1 million idea that will, the second that I come out of the room and finish my Plastic Man pitch after I just talked about Freakazoid, you're gonna go in there with that idea but Harley Quinn, and they're gonna go, done, welcome to the team,
So
and I'll be out there on my ass. So like, let me tell you, yeah, no, a Harley Quinn short comedy
11 minutes.
show is like, I don't even know if I necessarily would watch it, but I know it would make bank.
Oh God, yeah, the merchandising thing at your local Hot Topic, forget about it. But here's my thing: like that idea writes itself, but I
Yes.
actually have an idea of how I would make it good, even, and actually make
Okay.
it like you would want to watch it. So basically, I'm taking the framework of the Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor stuff, which is what people know now. It's
Yeah.
what made her the new Pillar. She moves to New York. She got a mysterious will saying, "Hey, you now own like a boarding house with all these like weird, colorful circus characters, so they all get to become characters."
Right.
But just her coming from New York, from to New York from Gotham, absolutely sets up like or sets off the criminal apple cart.
Okay.
Like all the mob and all the big power players in New York are like, "Oh, this isn't good. Harley Quinn's coming here. That must mean she's scouting it out for the Joker. That must mean they're going to try and take over. We have to take her out, but we have to make it not look like we did it because we don't want to go to war with the Gotham family." So every episode, every 11 minutes is set up like this weird, funny, like monster of the week show, or in
Yes.
this case, assassin of the week. So they'll send like some hapless goon to try and kill Harley Quinn while she's just living her life, buying groceries, doing yoga, hanging out with people.
It's just Sylvester and Tweety. Sylvester's
Yes.
trying to eat the bird. They're trying
It's
to
pure.
whack Harley. Yeah.
It's pure Looney Tunes. They try and whack her, and they end up, again, slipping on banana peels and having anvils dropped on their head.
Yeah.
Like, really, I really want to go back to, like, yeah, again, like you said, Sylvester and Tweety, Elmer and Bugs. I
Yeah.
want it to just be that.
It's the Roadrunner cartoons, but it's, and you could even use the, like, since you know you're doing it, you could do a little like tongue-in-cheek wink and a nudge, like you could use the sound effects from Looney Tunes, like when Harley's about to hit somebody with her friggin' giant hammer and kill them, she like makes the meep meep sound and then just crushes him.
It's Warner Brothers, so those are all in their library. They can do it, and you can even go a step further. Like, they don't just have to be goons in suits. Make them loser villains no one will miss, like Killer Moth tries to kill her this episode.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Or a
Typeface.
Flash villain, Mirror Master, or and then maybe
Anyone.
one time, like maybe at the end or sometime, you could throw in Deathstroke or Deadshot and just make it kinda
Someone who
cool.
knows what they're doing, yeah.
Yeah, and just and what happens then? I don't know, but we'll watch
Have
it.
them be annoyed, like have it like Harley doesn't know. It's like, "Oh, hey Floyd." It's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? You come to visit?" "Oh, yeah, come to visit, yeah."
Exactly. No, a
And
Harley
he just
show
feels
is gold.
bad.
That's a no fucking brainer.
You could even take it in a serious direction too, where she starts having flashbacks of why she left the Joker and why she left Gotham, which means maybe you could get Mark Hamill or Troy Baker or someone in there to be the Joker. But maybe like a funny thing is you hear his voice, but he never actually appears.
I like that idea better. I don't mind seeing the Joker, but I also like the idea of letting, if you're gonna push a Harley show, let her stand on her own. You can make reference to the Joker, but like do that thing like they did in Teen Titans where they never showed Batman, but you knew he was there. Like just do that with the.
I like that. That's good. So yeah, that's my Harley pitch. And for the voice, I want Hayden Welch to do the voice. She did it in, what was it, The Batman and Assault on Arkham.
Yeah.
I think she's a little better than Tara Strong because she's basically just trying to do an old Harley impression.
Now what about the other one, the one from Big Bang Theory that played her?
I was not so much of a fan of her. She's going to be in the new one.
Yes, she's going to be in that movie. I don't remember what it's called, or I think it's called Batman and Harley Quinn. But my question is, who plays her? And it's Melissa Rauch.
Right.
I kind of dug it. I've having watched the trailers for it. Like, I think she could be better. Like, certainly better than Tara Strong. But we'll see what happens.
She's fine. She's all right. But again, I would prefer just like an old Arlene Sorkin impression, and I think Welch does that pretty well.
I agree with you. As far as the rest of my pitches are shows, like
Nice.
22-minute long animated shows that are going in linear order that have a running plot. My pitch, which I've mentioned earlier, was it's called Justice League, but it's Justice League International.
Ooh,
And
tricky.
It's almost like an adaptation of the Giffen DeMatteis Kevin Maguire series.
It's good
Where
shit.
it's an action comedy, almost like Office, and I don't mean The Office. I mean like an office comedy, where
Right, workplace.
they're in an office in Detroit. They're the Justice League. They've got, and the team is the team pretty much from Justice League International. You've got Guy Gardner, you got Martian Manhunter, you got Batman, and Fire and Ice, and maybe Blue Beetle and what's his name, Booster Gold, because you need
Great
them,
lineup.
Maxwell Lord and all that, and just make it about these characters that are celebrating the fact that they're superheroes. Like they don't need to always be like, God, I have all this power, what will I do, and how does it mean? No, nor do I want to see like Martian Manhunter working in a freaking like temp agency. I mean, just like, it's a show about the Justice League being leaguers, and like they respond to threats, and maybe the threats are sometimes beneath them and they have to deal with it anyway, and but mostly it's about the team and how dysfunctional and crappy they are and how they don't get along at all, and they all want to fuck each other or they want to punch each other, and it's just kind of like it explores and exploits the magic of that series and what it represented, while also giving you something but still Brimstone shows up and they have got to fight him and it's still cool, like. And you get to really take a couple of those characters because Batman's in it. They'll show up, but like,
of course.
Oh, look at that! This episode's about fire, and so that's kind of fun, and you just kind of Trojan horse it basically. Where
I like everything about it.
and of course I think the main characters are like the real standout breakout characters are Booster Gold and Blue Beetle and their relationship.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's it. It's just called Justice, but it's called Justice League. And like the poster is just that iconic Kevin Maguire cover of all of them looking at you, and Guy Gardner being like, "What are you looking at?" That kind of thing. Like,
so good.
It's literally like the opening credits. I'm imagining them like it's like a microcosm of what they're doing, where it's like the Justice League, and then it's like, and then it like kind of like moves away from Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman into them leave, like Wonder Woman going one way, Superman leaving the other way. They're in silhouette, and Batman going like, and then like, calling somebody, and then like you see all these other characters like join the squad, and then it all like kind of coalesces into them kind of posing for a picture no one's going to take, where
I can see it right now.
It's a recreation of the cover from Justice League International, and it just says Justice League, and so you think, oh, I'm watching a Justice League show, but we're tricking you into really watching a Justice League International show.
Nice. That's a great idea, and very in line with what DC and Warner Brothers does with their titles.
Exactly. Yeah, where they're like, it's Justice League Dark with Batman in it.
Yeah, everything must also have Batman.
But this one, at least, like, you have people who will be naysayers and complainers, like, I can't believe they put Batman in this, and it's like, he was in there before too.
He was the one.
The hardcore fans can go, no, Batman runs this team.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's it.
I like it. Another one I had cooking, and again, I probably gave this one the most focus. You remember the very short-lived Demon Knights, which was like the medieval Justice League? It had Etrigan and Vandal Savage and Madame Xanadu.
The comic, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we have the entire run of it. Someone sent it to us.
It's pretty short. I think that while that might not have worked as a comic, I think that would have cleaned up as an animated show. It has a lot of untapped potential and even a lot of crossover appeal for people who don't know these are DC comic characters.
Right on. Now, what's the story? What is this?
It would just be a straight-up adaptation, go pure sword and sorcery adventure. It's all these weirdo, medieval, magical dudes in armor who form a team. And, like, I would do, like Dungeons & Dragons comedy, where it's like, okay, we were, like, hired to go stop these goblins, but, oh, no, wait, Vandal's running ahead and everything, and, oh, but Jason Blood and Etrigan are fighting each other.
Okay, all right.
That's what I would do with it, and I think there's a lot you could do with that. And, of course, because, it is the DC universe, bring in some immortal characters who would have been alive at that time. Hey, now you got to fight Ra's al Ghul in the League of Assassins because he's alive.
Yeah, that'd be great. No,
Vandal's on the team is the fun part.
That's right.
Because he's not quite a bad guy yet. You get to see his turn to full-on dark side. At this point, he's just a fun-loving Conan the Barbarian.
Nice. Okay. I'd watch that.
I think that would work. And again, too, crossover appeal for people who don't know. Because when was the last good like fantasy swords dragons cartoon we
That's the
got?
thing. There haven't been many, but I remember when I was growing up, there were a bunch.
I know. I think there's a nostalgic like part of the brain that we can touch for this if this became a
You know
thing.
what'll really be the litmus test will be the Wonder Woman Conan crossover. If that works,
Yeah.
if people buy it, then maybe there's a hope for it. But like, there was the Conan the Adventurer show with Conan and
Yes.
his merry friends. There was another Conan cartoon show. Even the one where it's King Arthur and they're football players and they got
Oh,
trapped in the
King
past.
Arthur and the Knights of Justice.
Like there is a precedent for animated shows catering towards like kids that are set in the medieval times. There was a Dungeons and Dragons cartoon show, for God's
There
sake.
was. Paul Dini cut his teeth on that
That's
show.
right. That's right. I mean, Gummy Bears is a medieval cartoon show.
It was.
I mean, look at what's it called, Gargoyles. Most of the damn show takes place in a flashback.
Ivanhoe, that was another one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Friggin' Ivanhoe got a show.
yeah. The list goes on and on. I think there's a precedent for it. I would give it at least a season.
Yeah, I think you could do a lot in that one season. You could do some fun shit with that.
Yeah. My last pitch, more or less, is basically just like people like Netflix shows. People like
They
to
do.
binge watch, and so one of the things that people complain about when DC does an adaptation, unless it's Killing Joke, is that there's not enough. Whenever DC does like a movie adaptation of something, they always leave some crucial thing out. Something that, maybe it wasn't the unnecessary component that like was able to give us a good story, but it was something that was missed and an audience like wanted to see realized. Someone's leaving disappointed. So rather than try and compartmentalize and distill these epic long stories, why not make them into shows? Like just mini series and
Yeah.
just release them on a seasonal basis, the way Marvel does with the Netflix shows. But instead of it being Marvel and like it's DC, and instead of it being live action, it's animation. And every year or so, or every other year, there's a mini series of The Long Halloween, or there's a mini series of Nightfall, or there's
These
a
like great stories everyone knows, or every comic reader knows.
yeah, exactly. Because people are talking about like how they want to see like Watchmen become like a cartoon show. While I don't necessarily agree that Watchmen needs to be adapted any more than it already has, and I don't mean because,
Once was
like,
enough.
I don't mean that they struck oil when it came to the freaking Scott Snyder or Zack Snyder Watchmen movie. But
Yeah.
I think like less is more when it comes to adapting Watchmen. But if they were to adapt Watchmen, an animated series wouldn't be the worst way to go.
No, it wouldn't.
And as such, like, you could do all the things, and you could do some of the things that, like, maybe wouldn't sell like a full movie or wouldn't work as a full movie. Like, man, Batman No Man's Land could be a really cool show.
It really could be. There's a lot of material to work with.
You could just run this whole like you could then do all these things with it where you employ these great people and you work towards it. You can have like episodes that are kind of like where you really pay attention to like the down, like quiet, like low, like slower moments, while also doing the high action and stuff.
The good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, while it would be hard to do, wouldn't it be fun to see like an 8-episode miniseries called Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I'd be there with frickin' bells on.
Right?
I
like,
would be.
as opposed to a movie that's like 80 minutes long that's directed by Justin Lin or whatever the hell or James Wan, and like just being like, oh, cool, again, another one. Oh wow, well they did such a bang up job with Flashpoint. I guess I'll fucking do a good job. Like, Hush should be a great show. I know that most of my examples are Batman, but I'm a big Batman fan, so that's.
And Batman has the most material to work with again.
Yeah, I mean, you could do the Death of Superman as a show.
Would love it.
You could do Just Like Tower of Babel as a show. I mean, we know we just got movies of those things, but they're called different stuff. But like, hell, Kingdom Come would be a fucking killer show.
God damn, it would be. Yeah, especially because we live in a day and age where like miniseries are getting so much popular now, like The People versus OJ and all that other stuff.
Exactly, you're already getting shows. Like, why not do that? Like, why not? And why not embrace animation, which allows you to, of course, like, where everyone's kind of pushing towards like superhero live action, particularly Warner Brothers. But then they go like, listen, it's a TV budget. We can't always do these things. Well, listen, if you do animation, he can go to fucking Mars and back, and it won't cost you any more or less than having a scene where Iris and Wally or Barry are talking again. Like,
Yeah, you can have all sorts of crazy action scenes if you want.
exactly, you can go everywhere and you can do anything. So why not?
That's the
Especially
power
if
of
you own a
animation.
freaking animation studio.
That too. It's such a shame that they're not pushing themselves like they used to, even though they own an animation studio.
It's the fact that I think both studios, both Disney and DC or Warner Brothers, have dropped it. And I think
They're
that
dropping the ball.
Disney dropped it before they even had a chance to like play, because Disney's like, if I hold Disney to a high standard where I'm like, you guys were the #1 animation studio in the fucking world. What are you doing? Why aren't you making the best cartoons you can of these
Why are you
properties?
phoning it in?
You spent $4 billion on it. Get the goddamn shit. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I think Star Wars was $4 billion. I think Marvel was a lot less. But my point being, like DC, it's more sad. It's a harder fall because we know they can do better. We know they've done better.
And I mean, look how good Rebels is. Why can't you do like Rebels quality with some of the shit you own?
How is Guardians of the Galaxy not a Rebels show? You get the same people from Rebels. When the show ends, make it a freaking Marvel Cosmic show. But it's a DC show, so we'll stick with.
Marvel can be a whole episode on its own. Don't
Marvel
you worry.
is just a shame on you for never living up to your potential. DC is a like, you've done it before. Just remember your druthers and get back to work.
Please, please.
Yeah. So what else you got?
Okay, so this would be an 11-minute thing. I'm sure you remember this better than I do. Back in the day, MTV had liquid television for all these like weird experimental out there shows.
The Max, by the way, just a really quick aside, the Max the show might be better than the comic.
Yes, I've heard you say that before.
It is. I mean, it literally is an adaptation of the comic, but it ends earlier than the comic does in a more powerful way, and before Sam Keith goes full Sam Keith on his art. So like, if you have not watched the Max or you've not watched MTV's Oddities,
so good.
You should check them out. Aeon Flux, The Head, the Max, amazing shows and really experimental and fucking weird.
Now, if you like that, then you're going to love my pitch right here. Doom Patrol by way of Liquid Television. Yep. 11 minutes, just weird, fucked up shorts.
I have no money, but you can take it. Here it is. Like, please. A Doom Patrol Liquid Television show is like, what the crap? Like, why aren't you doing that already? Like, that's a weird thing where it's like, why didn't the dude from My Chemical Romance just pitch that?
He had the money for it. And again, I imagine this would, because there is no liquid television anymore, this I would think would be straight to YouTube, so you could get around a lot of the censors and around a lot of the other stuff to just be as fucking weird as you want. And like, we've seen stuff like Salad Fingers and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Even like Marble Hornets be really popular online. Just animate some of this weird shit. There's clearly an audience for it.
Absolutely. No, why don't you go full like GarageBand with it and get independent YouTube animators to work on it?
They need the work, and there's a lot of great talent out there.
Maybe it's 8 minutes. That's great. And then you could just outsource. Like, every episode is done by a completely different animation team, and it's and independently created and operated by the people who run this format in general. Love it to death.
I even got my team and I cast actors for them.
Oh, nice. Well, who have you got?
Okay, so obviously you need the chief / the head, as Morrison called him during his run. I would get Canada's own David Kaye to do his voice. He was Charles Xavier in X-Men Evolution, and the chief is basically just an Xavier anyway, so there you go.
No, it's a great voice. I love it.
Love him to death. Robot Man, who I was split on this. I imagine he would have a deep, booming voice despite being a robot. I would want Keith David, or if you couldn't get him, Phil Lamar.
Okay, I'll take either one of them.
They're both really great. Elastigirl, of course, Ashley Birch. My internet crush, Ashley Birch, to be Elastigirl.
She's a sweetie. That's a nice
She really is. Okay, so here's where I actually start fucking with people a little bit. Beast Boy, but we don't call him Beast Boy because he's an adult now. He's Changeling.
Oh, nice.
He's Changeling, and I thought it would be funny. Get the actor from Teen Titans Go to voice him in this weird, fucked up one because, like, Cyborg voices himself and everything, so why should this guy not do the same? Or, to make it really funny, get Seth Green to be him.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, he'd do a great job.
He would, and my final pick here, and this is where I got to be extra weird, Ambush Bug is going to be on the team, and he's going to be voiced by Brian Posehn.
You do that in a heartbeat.
And I thought a fun, like, framing device for this thing is that, like, Ambush Bug is filming the team, being like, you know, oh, I want to make a documentary about us so people aren't so freaked out by us anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Only he ends up making, like, really disturbing, fucked up movies.
Right, exactly.
Because they're weird and fucked up people.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I think I don't think I got the right idea here. Oops.
You can make it really something where it's like, again, if this is a YouTube thing, it's Ambush Bug's channel that these videos get put up on.
I love it.
And you're seeing, like, his video diaries uncut and everything.
Yeah, that's gold. That's a great idea, man. Holy shit.
I was happy with that one. I liked how that one.
Do you have any more, or is that it?
I have a couple more, but these ones will go much quicker.
All right, let's hear 'em.
Obviously, this is something I had in mind for Adult Swim. I call it Lobo, the Brave, and the Bastich. And the idea for this one is that, you know, Lobo is a fun character. He's a cool character. He's chaotic, though. So you need a straight man for Lobo, I think, to really make a Lobo property take off. You need, like, a guy, a POV. Mm-hmm. So the POV I picked for Lobo is Funky Flashman.
Okay. I am not familiar with Funky Flashman.
He's like a weird, like, 40s DC character. They keep bringing him back mainly because his name is so funny.
Uh-huh.
He's had a dozen different jobs, but in my version of it, I imagine he would be a down-on-his-luck, like, movie writer, trying to pitch something to a studio about a badass space bounty hunter. Little does he know, though, this studio is actually controlled by white Martians, and one day gets shot up by Lobo on a job. Lobo reads his script, though, decides he likes it, and says, okay, you're going to follow me around in a day-in-the-life cop style, and you're going to tell my story to the world.
I love it. That's great.
So he's kind of kidnapped, but he also kind of gets, like, what's that thing? Stockholm Syndrome from hanging out with Lobo. And because, like, Lobo's terrassing around space, you can make it like a DC cosmic show, too, where, like, you meet the Thanagarians and you meet the Daxums and everything.
Yeah, you can do all kinds of, like, really fun, high-flying, like, cosmic shit without making it a show about that.
And because it's Adult Swim, I would really try and push the comedy violence. I would make it like Itchy and Scratchy, a Happy Tree Friends level of just Lobo ripping people to shreds and himself getting ripped up too, because he, much like Deadpool, can heal from absolutely everything.
Yep, exactly. I think a Lobo show is inevitable, and I think that, why not? Let's go for it.
Now, how about some voices here? Obviously, in a perfect world, we'd get Brad Garrett back, but he's a little old now. Freddie Tatasciore does the voice of the Hulk and everything now, and Lobo and the Hulk, kind of similar-ish. He's a pretty good actor.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure he'd like to play a guy who can actually talk.
That would be nice. John DiMaggio, again, too. Man can do anything.
No question. That's my pick. Bender as the voice of Lobo is great.
Nice. And for Funky, I thought, hey, Sam Riegel, because I've cast literally everyone else from Critical Role. Let's give him a job.
Sure, yeah.
Sam Riegel, I imagine he could be like a fun little nebbishy guy forced to follow around Lobo at gunpoint and write about him.
Totally.
Obviously, of course, as a giant Green Arrow fan, I had to have a pitch for him. This is like adapted from a live action thing. Remember they were supposed to do like Supermax, which was going to be a Green Arrow movie, but it wouldn't have his name in it. Yeah, he'd be in prison, kind of like at the end for Cry for Justice.
Yep. Just
turn it into an animated movie.
Yeah, no, that's gold. I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Literally take the same script.
They should just take all like the undone movies and just do those. Like, but yeah, Supermax is a great idea.
And the pitch would be Green Arrow's in jail. He's surrounded by a bunch of the villains he put away who hate him and want to kill him. And the mystery of the movie would be, well, what did he do to get sent to jail? Did he kill Prometheus? That's the word on the street, is that he killed Prometheus. Did he go too far? Is he a superhero unhinged? Right. But by the end of the movie, we find out that Green Arrow and Batman put all of this together to put him in prison so he could stop Merlin from breaking out all of the bad guys.
Cool. Yeah,
and if that's popular, you spin that off into a Green Arrow show.
Yeah, I agree. Now here's a question: what was it? Who plays Green Arrow?
See, it's funny. You know, he's had a lot of actors over the year, but I don't think there's ever been a truly definitive Green Arrow voice.
No, I agree. Although I do love Justice League Unlimited's voice.
He's really good. The guy from Young Justice was good. But yeah, I don't know who I would cast as Green Arrow. I'm too close to the material. No one would be for me. Who would you like to see, Sal,
I
in
would just
that
get the guy
particular?
from Justice League Unlimited. I think he did a great job. I associate him with that voice. I love it. I love
Yeah,
that guy. Now that
he's
said, that
really
was
good.
like that was a long time ago, so maybe not. Maybe somebody a little younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It needs to be somebody like because that guy, whoever he was, had like a gruffness, but it was still like with a lilt of life and youth. And I'd like to keep that because Green Arrow needs. The worst Green Arrow for me is the Green Arrow that like hates everything.
It's true.
So no, we need like a Green Arrow that's like, ah, I'm Errol Flynn. Like,
Yeah, that would be nice. A fun-loving, wheeling and dealing Green Arrow. It's interesting in Justice League Action. He was the dumbass of the team. Interestingly enough, he was the guy who had to keep asking questions.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, the chat says Alan Tudyk played him on Green Arrow. Sure, let's get Alan Tudyk back.
That'd be fine. Yeah, he'd be a better. He'd be certainly a better Green Arrow than Superman.
Yeah, or Van Wayne.
I don't know who that is.
That was the Powerless show. That was the
Oh
character.
God, yes. I was like, what? Oh, you know,
That's
Van
fine.
Wayne's a real character.
I know, right? What a weird place to do such a deep cut.
Yeah, it is weird.
All right, I got one last pitch here, and this is probably the one I'm the most proud of. Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Time Warped
Yep.
is what this would be. The idea is that the Justice League have just busted Kronos, the big time-traveling bad guy. He has a machine. The League doesn't know how it works, and they're like, oh, God, well, the only person we know who deals with time travel is Booster Gold. Hey, Blue Beetle, can you go get him and bring him to the Watchtower? He does. Turns out he has no idea what this Kronos machine is. He fucks it up, and him and Blue Beetle end up getting thrown, not just through time, but through hyper time.
Oh God. Yes. Okay.
So this becomes a Samurai Jack style scenario where Blue Beetle and Booster Gold need to get back to their present, but along the way they go through all sorts of crazy past. You know, they go to World War II, they go to the Hindenburg, all these huge events. They go to the Wild West and meet Jonah Hex. But where I really try and sell it though is that the time periods they visit match that era in comics. So when they go to World War II, everything is Golden Age.
Yes, exactly. No, I was there. I was like, one day they go into the future and it's Batman Beyond, or
Yep, exactly. Which means you get those actors back.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. Even if it's not in the universe of Batman Beyond, like where it's not in the Justice League Unlimited universe, it's literally just like its own thing. But it's like, no, in this future, it's Batman Beyond. Like we're going through a multiverse, kind of.
I have a line in it right there where it's like, Booster, not only did we get trapped in time, we've got trapped in hyper time. These aren't just futures and past. These are possible futures and past.
Yeah, no, it's Sliders and Quantum Leap at the same time. I'm down.
It's just like that. And, obviously because they're jumping through time, they'll meet Sergeant Rock and the Blackhawks and Jonah Hex and every, historic hero. Actually, this is the show that could tie the whole universes together because they could run into Wonder Woman at some point and the Demon Knights at some point. They could cross other shows.
Oh, yeah, you could run it. They could go to the Legion of Superheroes. They could meet Superboy when They could be stuck in Kansas and not, since they don't know Superman's secret identity, they're just like, crap, what are we going to do? And they run into a nice kid named Clark Kent who's like, it writes itself.
They also need a good foil, too, and tell me what you think of this. So, obviously, they're, threatening to destroy the space-time continuum. Kronos got loose, too, so he's giving them trouble. But also, they're being hunted by the Time Master, Rip Hunter, who is, of course, the actual son of Booster Gold, but he doesn't know that yet.
Right, of course. No, you got to do Rip Hunter.
And he's like the cop who's like, oh, you did it again, Booster Gold, and Blue Beetle, you done did it. And again, I was even thinking of a potential episode, okay, they go back to Renaissance Italy, and Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins are trying to kill Da Vinci, so they need to protect Da Vinci from ninjas.
Yeah, I'm watching that episode, obviously.
And then it's like, well, what about historical characters? Can they go back to Victorian London and meet Sherlock Holmes, even though
Yeah,
he
if
wasn't
they're in
real?
public domain, you can use them. Absolutely. Sherlock Holmes and Batman crossed over once in a very old Batman issue. So yeah, you can.
They did. In fact, let's do that. They end up coming at that point, or even better, they end up coming to like the Dark Knight Returns future, and they have to fight the mutant gang.
I would love that. You never even see Batman. Or you do it where it's before Carrie becomes Robin. They save a young Carrie Kelly, and
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you guys sure dress weird, don't you? And the only
and you
rule
talk
for
weird
it,
too.
the only rule for the show could be that they could never run into other versions of Booster Gold or Blue Beetle, because doing that would destroy the universe. And that's the rule. Never meet yourself.
No, exactly. I love that. Now, which Blue Beetle is it?
Well, obviously, it would be Ted. It would be the one Booster hangs out with all the time.
That's my Blue Beetle, yes. And you know what? You could do an episode where they run into Jaime, and they don't know that it's like, Ted's like, oh no, I met myself, and then it's like,
they try and run away from, only to be like, no, dude, I'm not you. I'm another guy. Oh, really? There's another me? And then they could go back even further and meet the original Blue Beetle.
Oh, yes. What would be great is also where he's like, wait a minute, but like, where am I then?
Oh, ooh.
Oh no.
A possible future said too much.
Yeah, I'm down.
Bye.
So these are all shows that they'll never make, but definitely should, because like, hell yeah, these are great ideas.
I mean, the chat got excited. We excited each other, so I think we did our job.
So I think we did our job. We've accomplished another episode of the Elseworlds Exchange, where we take ideas that we have come up with, present them to the public. They all want them, and have proven that it's a thing that people would like, and then no one makes it.
Yeah, these fan castings are fun, though. It lets us, flex our creative muscles and be like, hey, actual companies, if you wanted to give us something to write, we probably could.
We could probably pull this off, yeah. It's true.
And not to toot my own horn, but like I just kicked this out in a week, where it's like, come up with 8 killer concepts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had less time, and I was like, here's some ideas, I guess.
And they were all winners.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is a killer one, man. But hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Before we go, let's do some pitches for ourselves. Joel?
I like it. Well, if you head on over to the Cape Joel page right now, you can find a commentary that Matt and myself did for Logan. He's away this week. I actually think it might have ended up being one of our best, funniest, most insightful commentaries we've done. Those are always nice to do.
Nice.
And, of course, I got reviews coming out through the week. The new Spider-Man, War of Jokes and Riddles, all that good stuff.
Yeah, wow. That's going to be a tough one to pick for us on Off the Rack. We released back issues early, so you've already seen it. It's Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six by Eric Larson, which is ridiculous. Check that out. And, of course, if you would like to meet anyone from ComicPOP, we'll see you on Saturday in Parsippany, New Jersey at ToyCon. That's at the Parsippany PAL building at 33 Baldwin Road in Parsippany, New Jersey, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, and, of course, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. Probably only do the Saturday show, so if you want to meet us, come by and say hello. We'd love to run into you and look at some sweet-ass toys. ToyCon is one of my favorite shows that I hit up this year. So definitely stop by. It's also about like 5 minutes from my house. So
you always bring back a lot of cool shit from that too.
I think last year we did a haul video, so I think we're gonna have to do it that way from now on. So come out and hang out with us. We'll see you then. But until next time, thanks a lot for watching the Elseworlds Exchange, or listening to it if you are of the audio variety. And we'll see you guys next week with another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Joel.
So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Damn it, I said peace. Like Rob.
It gets in your head, doesn't it? Like, they got to square that circle for me.
I know, he's infected us.
Although that being